It's Soxtravaganza! Woo! Party time! Welcome to FiberLoveDiary. I'm Trish if we haven't met, and if we have met, welcome back. I'm glad to see you. You're my people, the people who get so excited when they smell Ravelry's or see a loom without a warp on it, the people that love to watch that transformation from roving to yarn to finished object. You're my people, and I love you and I appreciate you so much. You guys don't even know how thankful I am that we all got together somehow. It's crazy. This is the channel where I document my fiber journey. Sometimes I also have my good friend here with us. Documenting my fiber journey means you might see weaving, spinning, washing raw fleece, dyeing, felting, knitting, crocheting. I think you've seen some sewing because of the weaving. So I guess there's probably even more stuff that you might see. And I'm so happy to have you here for the first episode in the sock extension, the Soxtravaganza, if you will, of the breed study. And just in case this is new to you, this is an extension of the breed study that I've worked on for like most of 2021. That led me to want to test some down breeds that are frequently touted as being great for socks. I don't have trust. I think people just repeat what they hear other people say. I don't have trust sometimes that commercially processed wool came from the exact breed it was supposed to. Maybe it's crosses, maybe it's blah blah whatever. Basically, I have no trust. I'm a woman in her 40s and that happens, okay? And once you've had your trust torn away from you, it's harder to get it back. This week we are doing Dorset Horn. I'm going to take you through the process: spinning, plying, dyeing, knitting 3 swatches that are identical, and then washing 2 and drying 1 of those 2. And then we're going to compare, we're going to go through it, we're going to see what we can see, we're going to find out the conclusions, and I don't want to give anything away. Whoop. I almost did too. But I'm going to draw a conclusion about how this works for me. I hope you're trying this at home. I hope you're spinning along. And actually, if you're not, here's the best part. If one of these works super great for socks, I'm going to have it in my shop no matter what. Also, if after this week you're like, okay, I do want to do this, there are still some Soxtravaganza kits available in my shop, and they're $25. You get 2 ounces of each of these 4. I have to be completely honest with you. In the back of my mind, I'm like, you can think you have 4 more breeds you'd like to try. Maybe we should extend this, but I think we're gonna have to wait until I get a little closer. And also, if you guys are really into it, are you gonna want to do 4 more after this? Are you gonna want to move in a different direction? More luxury breeds? Like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. I never know. I don't run things like that. I don't even know how to run things like that. I'm jealous of people who can run things like that. I'm laughing, but I'm actually not joking. Let's get into it. Its origins are a mystery. It says they think it was developed through crossbreeding Spanish Merinos. We love us some Merinos, don't we? With Welsh sheep. That actually kind of makes sense too, because the Welsh breeds, I've heard, don't felt as easily. Don't quote me on that, because you know I don't like that. However they came into being, they spread across England, then around the globe. Oh, they're one of those breeds that can breed throughout the year, which a lot of shepherds obviously want, because the more babies, the better. Oh, and also they regularly have twins and triplets, so that's also good. It's another thing that they have with Finn. It says it can lamb 3 times in 2 years. Okay. And it also says the Dorset Horn is the only major British breed that has that non-seasonal breeding trait. So I'm sure that that makes a lot of sense why they wanted them everywhere. Here's some facts on Dorset Horn. 4.5 to 9 pounds, staple length 2.5 to 5 inches. The fiber diameters are 26 to 33 microns, so a little bit more coarse, but honestly, well, we'll talk about it later. It's a little coarser compared to some. Dense locks with strong irregular crimp. That is a characteristic of Dorset sheep. Most of the wool is white. Colored fibers or kemp will disqualify animals from some of the breed societies. There are some colored Dorset. Dyeing, it says the whites are very white and will take color clearly. Versatile moderate wool. versatile, amenable to carding or combing. It says it can also be spun from the staple. Ooh. Longer fleece, the longer one's quite easy to spin. Honestly, I don't know if I agree with that. I think they're just easy to spin, period. It says it can be spun for airiness in a woolen spin or compactness worsted. So I wanted to talk about that. I did spin this. I have spun this completely worsted. In my opinion, for socks, that is better, especially, but that's just an opinion. It doesn't actually mean anything because it's for strength. If you are spinning a breed like this that is just a lot springier, a lot more fluffy and squishy, and because it's a little coarse with an irregular crimp, the fibers will tend to not settle flat together. They will tend to spring up a lot, and that is what I found when I spun this. I did spin it completely worsted. I kept it in the comb top. That is what I would normally do for socks. I've spun a few woolen socks, but they don't seem to last as well for me. I kept it in the comb top, and then I went ahead and spun it with a short forward draw. It's a versatile medium wool, cleanly white in most cases with some black sheep as well. Let me grab some so we can check a staple, and then we're gonna go spin. Change up the order this time, but I will go back to the original order next time because, well, let's face it, we do like that. But I grabbed a sample of this from my fleece storage area. Gosh, just based on already spinning it, I'm gonna guess it's like maybe between 3 and 4. I gotta get to where I'm holding both ends. How far out can I go? How low can you go? Okay. So, wow, this is way longer than I thought. This is 5.5 inch staple. So it is actually longer than they said was kind of like the long end, which is great because again, for socks, that's gonna make them stronger, gonna make them wear better. Yes, we love it. Let's spin. My yarn's all spun. I'm gonna dye it. I just wanted to see how it takes dye. I think that's a factor in each of these sock experiments, Soxperiment. Right now, this is the sock yarn, and then I have a bunch of that light gray I would say actually taupe natural BFL silk blend that I'm gonna dye as well. So it's all soaking in together, but I thought I'd like see if I can get in close on this finished yarn before I dye it, because it is looking really good. It's wet too, so just keep that in mind on a field of taupe BFL. And I am really excited about this. I think this yarn's gonna be good. I am just worried that if it does felt in my washing machine, it's gonna make me sad. I asked my friend Anne if she had any suggestions on colors, and she said something like my shirt, which to me it looks a little bit more like wine on my screen. It's more of like a raspberry kind of color, and then gray and red, but she said to do the whole thing gray and then do like a raspberry and a red on top of it. So that's what I'm gonna do because it's fun. I'm gonna use one of my smaller pans for this. Sock yarn, so a lot of times that's what I do. I've got my swatches done and laid out, and I'm sure you might be like, Trish, why didn't you block your swatches? Well, if I stretch them at all while they're like, get them wet and stretch them really, or stretch them period, it's kind of funny because I even used a stretchier cast bind off that I used cast on. So if I just lay my hand on this and make it flat next to this one right here, they are so close to the same size. You can see it, right? And same over here. I mean, that's why I'm using this cutting mat. And yesterday I knit these in one sitting. They are 30 stitches wide. There are 4 stitches of garter stitch on each side of the stockinette panel, so it's cast on. I did 5 rows of garter, 29 rows of stockinette with the garter on the outer 4 stitches, 5 rows of garter, and then I used the same bind off. I mean, everything is exactly identical. I did use a bigger needle than I would use for socks just because, you know, I didn't want my swatch to be really, really tiny, and I also didn't want to have to knit forever to do my swatch. They are very, very close to the same size, so I feel good about that. They're all almost exactly 4 inches long, and then they are probably 4 1/4 to 4 1/2 wide. Oh, and this is my finished yarn. Let me show you that really fast. This bloomed a lot, and I like it. I did not count the wraps per inch after I dyed it, which would include, you know, basically cover the soak that you would do or wash. I'd probably need to go up to 45 wraps per inch with the single to get it to come out at a fingering weight, just like using ratios. Really happy with this. I'll be honest, it's so springy and smushy, but also strong. Like if I tried to break it, it was not easy to break it. I normally just break my yarn at the end of, you know, knitting something. It was strong. If this felt and shrinks in the washing machine, I'm gonna be so disappointed, because this is really an amazing sock yarn if it can be washed. But we have to wash too, because that's what science says. So I am going to mark these. Okay, so if you have been watching me for a while, you've probably seen these. These are the Tyvek bracelets that you can use to like get into events and things like that to prove that you bought a ticket. I use them for this a lot. I buy them on Amazon. I'll link them. I use them because you can wash them, get them wet, whatever, and you can write on them with Sharpies and they will, they're fine in the water. So like I can label a hank when I'm winding it before I wash it, and the label will come out normal. So this will be my control. This middle one will be my wash only. And then this one will be my wash and dry. And one thing that I have to say is that after I do wash these, when I'm gonna lay this one flat to dry, I will be very careful not to stretch it in any way. I'm gonna smooth it out flat, but I am not gonna like pull or stretch or anything like that. Welcome to my laundry room. I decided that I should not wash these alone because they would not get the same amount of like friction and agitation as they would get if they were in with a load of laundry. So this is one of our couch blankets that Gus likes to sleep on, so I have to wash it kind of frequently. I tied their labels on. We'll see if they make it. I can put new labels on if they don't, you know, if this gets pulled or ripped or whatever. Lord willing, it won't. And then I kind of don't want to do this because I don't want to find out that it didn't work. Okay, I've got it on cold wash, and let's just make sure my temperature is all the way down to cold. I mean, this is a pretty normal setting for me, and I want to use what I would normally wash, you know, what settings I would normally wash a regular load of laundry in. So I'm gonna go with that. And we'll be back in an hour and throw one of them in the dryer. This just came out of the washing machine, and I was like, oh no, it's felted, because it feels like heavier and kind of denser. However, check it out. I'm gonna line these up on the same like bottom line. I don't think it is. You can see it's still 4 inches tall, and it's definitely about 4 1/4 wide. So it's wet still. Like I said, I flattened it. You can see I flattened it, but I did not stretch it. I'm like so excited right now, and I don't think it faded at all. The other one's in the dryer with the blanket right now, and I guess fingers crossed it can go through the dryer too. That would be super amazing. But even this is enough to make me very happy, because if I can wash them with our other normal laundry and then just take them out and lay them flat to dry, I'm 100% fine with that. I dry a lot of stuff by air drying now, so I'm so excited. Here is my original. Here is my, just so you can see, wash only sample. It was washed and then laid flat to dry. I did not stretch it. I did not pull it. I was actually very careful about that. And then last, this is my wash and dry sample. Let me get in on this one. All right, so observations. I know that's part of science, right? There was a small amount of shrinking on the wash and dry sample. I would say now it is just a hair over 3.5 inches tall, and it is, let's see, just a tiny bit over 4 inches wide. Now, if you look at these two next to each other, there is, I would say, no shrinkage. And I also see that this sample, this is the control. This sample has, its color looks very good still. Its stitch definition looks great. I mean, I really feel like this works for me 100%. Now I'm gonna take this one away and move the wash and dry one next to the control. I'm really having trouble getting this to lay flat, and I do not want to get it wet, but it did not shrink much. You can see it did not shrink much. It doesn't want to lay flat, which with socks wouldn't really matter, but it fuzzed up quite a bit. All right, see this on the control? So this is my washed and dried. I personally would say this. If my socks went through the dryer and this happened, I would not be upset about it. I don't really get upset about stuff like that. I don't think that the dye faded much, but I do think the fuzz on it makes it look a little bit different. But check this out. For the one that is washed and then dried, laid out flat. So here is, again, this is my control. See those stitches and that dye? This is my washed and dried flat. I have to say, for me, this is the clear winner. This one was the Dorset Horn. I just want to make sure that's super clear. I know it's going to be in the title and the description, but you know. And I'm going to read you the stats one last time just so that I have them all read out and in one place. Okay, you ready? For the Dorset Horn, my singles were 38 wraps per inch. I did a 3-ply chain ply, which ended up with the finished yarn after plying at 19 wraps per inch. I had 222 yards for the 2-ounce sample. So that is, for me, perfect because I really want to get 400 yards out of a 4-ounce sample in order to make socks, so that's perfect. And then I did not measure my finished after dyeing, which would be kind of the same as a soak or a wash. I did not measure my finished wraps per inch because I kind of figured it is what it is. As far as I'm concerned, the washed in the washing machine, laid flat to dry sample, that's a winner for me. I'm so thrilled because I'm literally gonna start dyeing Dorset Horn for socks like yesterday. What if all 4 of these work this well? That's gonna be nuts. I am pleasantly surprised and super shocked actually, because deep in my heart I just believed that none of these would really work that great. And people tell you all the time, this is great for this is great for that, but I don't trust it until I do it myself. And then when I felt this yarn and then knitted it into some socks, or some samples actually in this case, and thought, oh my gosh, this would make amazing, beautiful, like they dyed really well, just there's so much good about this. Then I thought, well, for sure it's not gonna make it because I want it to so badly, but it did. I hope you all had the same experience, and if you want to join the Facebook group so you can share pictures of your own experience or share them on my Facebook page, there will be links to both of those below. You can also tag Soxtravaganza on Instagram if you want to share your own pictures. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see what you found out when you went through your own experiment and how it differed from mine. Because if you did something different and got a different result, I would like to know, like, what was the change that you made that you think maybe led to a different result. I will see you guys on Sunday for Fiber Tribe, 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Right here on this channel, we get together for a crafting group. It's very fun. And then next Tuesday I'll be back. Thanks. I love you. Bye.